What's up, Pugilism Planet? Jay Roos, back at you. Of course, here to talk some boxing. You know what it's about. Shout out to Kurt, was just commenting in his chat. He was just going live. We were talking about a lot of things, man. We're talking about movies, boxing. We're talking about where's John Fury, man. It was going down. And I was going to go live earlier, but I saw my dude Kurt was live, so thought I would wait. By the way, piggybacking off Kurt's topic, where is John Fury? Was he humbled? Just what's going on with John? Hope he's all right. Yeah, I'm just sitting here. Want to talk some boxing with y'all. Scoot back. I don't like to be all up in the camera like that. But what's going on, y'all? Got cut my hair. I didn't know what to do with my hair. Had dreads for 19 years, so ever since I cut the dreads, I'm like, what do I do now? But just a second, y'all. We just want to talk some. I was watching a whole special on Daniel Dubois today, and he said the same thing AJ was saying about that. He was going through trainers trying to see who was best for him, basically, and picking up little bits from each trainer. Now, when AJ said that, we all jumped on him like, "What are you doing?" I think myself included was like, "What's going on with AJ?" But now Daniel Dubois is pretty much admitting that's what he was doing too. But it showed a lot too about how influential Daniel Dubois' dad is and getting Daniel revved up as Daniel's hitting a heavy bag and stuff. You hear his dad in the background, kind of trying to say things to get Dubois into fight mode mentally. So you could see the importance that Dubois Sr. has on his son. Now, I'm almost starting to think that Daniel Dubois' dad is more important to Daniel's mental side than even Don Charles, because like Daniel Dubois was saying on another interview, his dad is the one that got him through boxing all those years. His dad was talking about how he would have to wake him up and get him ready to go to these different boxing events from a young age. So it was just interesting. Saw another interview with forget the guy's name, Mr. Prodigal Chung. What's up with you? Says big up, JA, man. What's up with you, man? Good to see you. Good to see you. Thanks for coming through. Thank you for coming through, man. Yeah, I was just talking about the interviews I saw with Daniel Dubois and Anthony Joshua, but I saw one with that guy ADE. I'm not sure, a day anyway. Charlene, what's up to you? She says, "Hey, thanks for coming through, Charlene. Appreciate you. Appreciate you." But the guy was saying, well, he was the interviewer for the face-off between AJ and Daniel Dubois, and he said a lot of people don't know that once the cameras cut off, he said Daniel Dubois was still revved up. He's like rolling his wrists and stuff, like he was ready to scrap with AJ right there. Don't know how well that would have gone for him, since he was dressed like he was just coming from a bar mitzvah, and AJ was in a wife beater. So I don't think that would have gone too well for Daniel. AJ also was saying that he believes he can still get a fight with Deontay Wilder. He said he's still willing to take that fight. So we'll see. I guess the ball's in Deontay's court, or whatever the saying is. Guess we'll see where his head's at, because if Deontay wants to continue to fight, Something has definitely got to change with Mr. Wilder. And one of the first things that's going to have to change, he's got to stop smoking. Whether it's ayahuasca or whatever, he's got to stop smoking. Mr. Prodigal Chung says, all is well, brother. Excited for these fights coming. Dubois is like Frank Warren's AJ. I'm excited too for these fights, and he is no doubt Frank Warren's AJ. Frank Warren really starts grinning ear to ear when he talks about Dubois. Even saw him in the changing room for Dubois, and he was back there telling him, how great he looked and everything. And you know, I like Frank Warren. Something about him that I like. Charlene said AJ was trolling. Yeah, AJ's interview um, was interesting that they just posted today. He was saying how he doesn't really care so much about the belts, and I guess he just wants to go in there and fight. Like he said, he used to do it for free. Now he's doing it, getting paid big money, so it's no problem. So anything you do for free, you really love to do. And if you get paid for it, that's just icing on the proverbial cake, isn't it? Charlene, you're from the UK, right? You say, isn't it? You say, isn't it? But I'm just I'm fascinated between the dynamic between Daniel Dubois and his dad and Don Charles. It's just interesting. Mr. Prodigal says, I still think Warren said robe on Joyce on the downslide as he beat his golden goose. Yeah, it's a weird situation between Frank Warren and Joe Joyce. I'm not sure. I keep hearing whispers of retirement from people in the boxing industry about Joe Joyce. People are kind of getting concerned with his health. Tony Bellew was even saying that Joe Joyce should retire. He suffered a lot of damage, and it's just you don't want to see him get injured. Zandy X, what up to you? Says peace, J. Roos. Peace to the chat. Thanks for coming through. Appreciate you. Of course, we're just talking, of course, some AJ Dubois, but we can cover any other fight y'all might be watching in the near future. Maybe Canelo. Charlene says, yeah, I am. Depends what area you're from, how it's used. Yeah, I always crack up how I hear isn't it? Because doesn't that mean like isn't it? But they say it in a strange way, like I just went to the restaurant, isn't it? Like what? I just got through training, isn't it? Like, I think it's fascinating how different sayings, no matter where you're at, each area has their own saying. So Charlene, you do you know how much the fight costs there yet for the AJ Dubois? Here in the States it's allegedly 19.99. We'll see if it goes up between now and September 21st. Guess I better purchase it before they maybe change their mind. Mr. Prodigal said that's slang talk mostly. Yeah. Slang talk, isn't it? Love my UK people. Every time I used to go to Lennox Lewis fights, man, I would be talking to the fans from the UK. It was pretty cool. Charlene says I'm using my brother's DAZN. Oh, okay. I'm wondering if it's going to be shown on Top Rank too because of Frank Warren. So I don't know about that. Mr. Prodigal said I lived in Leeds, England. Different kind of jargon. Oh, so they have their own little slang too, huh? Yeah, like California slang is way different than East Coast slang. California slang is more like criminal. Way Ice T described it, more like as far as rap goes, more like criminal terminology. And East Coast, they just got their own thing. They got their. It's almost like a different language in New York. Yes, indeed. So what y'all want to talk about? I understand people aren't really too excited about this Canelo fight coming up. I know I'm not excited about it. Only Canelo fight I want to see is Mr. Terrence Crawford in the ring with him. That's about it. That is about it. I'm not too excited at any other Canelo fight right now. What is that? Sounds like someone hammering. But I'm not too blown away by the undercard for this AJ fight for some reason. It just doesn't really do it for me. I would have liked to seen some, some more heavyweights on there. Canelo versus Lara too. That would, yeah, yeah. Let's get that going. Let's get that going. I think I would favor Canelo though at this point. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Canelo seems like he's getting kind of selective about who he wants to fight lately. Oh, I was just about to talk about that, Charlene, the fight promo. Yeah, I did a video about that. I thought it was really weird. I gave it two huge thumbs down. I didn't like it at all. Thought it was creepy. Looks like each fighter's getting tortured. Daniel Dubois laying in a pool getting electrocuted, and some dude's on fire. I'm like, okay, y'all seem to love this dark theme. I don't quite get it. You know, Days of Reckoning and all that. You know, it was creepy too, but I kind of understood what they were doing. But this was just, it's like, okay, I didn't. Then they start floating up to the sky, and then they're in the boxing ring. Mr. Prodigal said, yeah, it was odd. Yeah, I was like, yeah, yeah. And the Zandy says, and the cringe singing, yeah, what was with the creepy version of Sweet Caroline? I was like, that sounds kind of creepy. Yeah, Charlene says they all seem demonic. Yeah, they did. They did. And I was like, I was even wondering if they were trying to mock the rapture by having people float up. I was like, what is this? We all know that they're Muslims over there in Saudi Arabia for the most part, so I didn't quite understand that. But if I was involved in that promo, I'd have said, nah, I'm not going to participate in that unless y'all kind of get this dark theme up out of here. I ain't going to sell out for money or Prince Turkey. I'm hoping Bivol versus Beterbiev would be better. Yeah, let's see where they go with that one, man. Let's see who you got in that fight. By the way, I got Bivol. I know a lot of people are picking a Beterbiev or Better Biev. Not quite sure. I'm gonna have to hear how he pronounces his name because I always say Beterbiev, but a lot of people say Better Biev. We'll see if Beterbiev will be better on the night he fights Bivol. I think with all Bivol's 300 plus amateur fights, I think he's seen every style. I'm not sure how many amateur fights Beterbiev has, but Bivol just seems like, I don't say he's unbeatable, but seems kind of unbeatable. But Beterbiev definitely the harder puncher of the two. But when you fight guys that just know how to box that well, it seems like sometimes it doesn't matter how hard you punch. Go back to Ali and George Foreman. Foreman was the Mike Tyson of that day as far as punching power. Mike Tyson even said Foreman hits harder than him, yet Ali took it. Zandy says, I got Bivol as well, but he'll have to be extremely disciplined because he'll be facing a KO artist. Yeah, he can't take a round off in that fight. He's going to have to fight an extremely disciplined fight for 12 rounds should it go that far. Absolutely. Well said, Zandy. Bond Scott says, evening chat and Mr. Roos. Shout out to Bond Scott in Scotland. Shout out to you. Quan Big Gun says, what's up, Jay Roos? What's up, man? What's up to everybody? Just thought I'd do a sneak attack live stream. Was just watching Kurt's live stream over on Counterpunch Boxing News. It was pretty interesting. We ended up talking about movies and best hood movies. I say Boys in the Hood, and it was just cool. Denise Ward's in the building. Shout out to you. Shout out to everybody in the chat. If y'all on Instagram, you can follow me at Jonathan Roos 619. You follow me, I will follow you back. And if you wish to donate to the J Roos theory, the Cash App is $J Roos 33. Baby. Bon Scott says The Goonies. You know, that's a 80s movie I have never seen. Didn't they remake that recently? Or a couple years ago? I've never seen The Goonies and I've never seen E.T. Tales from the Hood is the best hood movie. I remember that. I remember the song from Domino, Tales from the Hood. I know it will sound bad, but it's all good. Let me stop before I get copywritten or copyrighted, however you say it. Boys in the Hood, number one hood movie for sure. Yeah, most realistic. I grew up in Southern California, and that movie was totally realistic. Menace to Society was like over the top and extreme. I didn't really like Menace to Society. Bon Scott said, yeah, but it's funny. Yeah. Quan Big Gun says Paid in Full is a good one too. Yeah, Paid in Full was considered a classic hood movie. Charlene says, what's your fantasy fight? I would still say Joshua Wilder just because I just wanted to see them guys fight, even though Wilder appears to be on the decline. Zandy X says, Boys in the Hood over Dead Presidents. We're going to fight. Oh, yeah, Boys in the Hood easily over Dead Presidents. Oh, yeah, yeah. Guess you got to grow up in Cali to relate, but yeah, Boys in the Hood. I grew up with a lot of dudes just like that. Remember, Q? We got a problem here. We got a problem here, Nick. Oh, I liked Higher Learning too with Ice Cube. Yeah, that's when John Singleton was peaking. I didn't really like Poetic Justice at the time, but it kind of grew on me. Some of the scenes I didn't like that weird scene with him and Janet Jackson where she's blowing her breath on him. Thought that was kind of a sick joke. Don't be a menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood. Man, that movie was so funny. I saw that in the theater. Dude, that movie, I mean, it's very crude and, risque, but man, dude, I was about to hit the floor in that theater. Some of this only the Wayans brothers could have thought of something like that, man. That movie was funny. American Me. I remember that. I think I saw that in actually in high school, one of my classes. Yeah, that was pretty serious right there. That movie was no joke. No joke at all. Quan Big Gun says Friday first movie is still a classic too. Yeah, it's funny. I saw Friday in the theater too in 1995 with all my buddies I was working with at FedEx at the time, and we all came out like, eh. But then, like, the more you see it on TV, you start to like it. And I sometimes just like movies because it reminds me of California and anything like even Boys in the Hood. I find like a cheerful movie. In fact, my wife was like, "You like how's this cheerful?" Like I'm like, it just reminds me of home. Yeah, she's from the Bay Area. Bay can be rough, but Southern California is like a different planet compared to the Frisco area. But I just find any movie usually about California makes me just want to go back. Cali love, baby. Bon Scott says Ashtray's mother. Trey, I don't want you hanging out in the streets. I want you to finish school because without an education, the only kind of work you're going to get is selling drugs, pimping women. Ashtray, that's the name, ain't it? Or working security for Eddie Murphy. Man, that movie was so funny. I think the Wayans are one of the most funny. I think Damon Wayans to this day had the most funny stand up I've ever seen. I think it was called Still Standing. I mean, it's crude. I wouldn't recommend it as coarse, but wow, it was funny. Quan Big Good says, I want to see Wilder fight again, but AJ will smoke him now. I think AJ versus Wilder is a fight we missed out on. I feel Wilder is to blame, and he chose Fury over Wilder. Yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking we might have missed out on that because now it's like Wilder's going to have to start from scratch and build up his confidence and, what's going on up there. But he's going to have to build up his confidence. And, by the time he does that, AJ will probably be ready to begin his acting career, whatever he wants to do after boxing. Bon Scott says the rest of the quotes would get me banned. Yeah, man, that movie was almost beyond the R rating at the time. Man, that movie was funny, dude. Man, the Wayans are there's some mentally sick people. Remember Mo Money with Stacey Dash and Damon Wayans? The soundtrack actually was better than the movie. It was supposed to be the next Beverly Hills Cop, and it kind of, I guess it did kind of good, but it didn't do what they expected. Quan Big Gun says Fury over AJ. You got Fury over AJ? I think AJ knocks out Fury, man. I think he just knocks him out. AJ's real confident right now. I'm not sure how confident that Fury is. Zandy X says, I still hold AJ Wilder as a fight I want to see. I invested too much time into it for me to let it go. I feel the same, just like we never got Lennox Lewis, Riddick Bowe in the professionals. That's one fight I always wanted, man. I always wanted. And then, Riddick lost and Lewis lost, and it just never happened. Galata beat the brakes off Bowe, so I think Wilder should fight White, Joyce, or Chisora. Wilder's best bet might be Dillian at this point. I don't even know if Deontay could. I used to think he would knock out Chisora. Now I'm not sure. I am not sure anymore. Did the Wayans do Scary Movie? Yeah, they did Scary Movie too. I think the first two. The third one was someone took over. But yeah, man, that Scary Movie, that was woo. That was another risque, crazy, wild movie, man. That thing was funny though. Funny. Coarse and crazy. I think AJ KO's Fury too. Yeah, I think AJ KO's Fury in dramatic fashion. Who you guys got in Fury Usyk too? Bon Scott says Bo hated Lewis because he thought he got cheated in the amateurs. I thought that Olympic fight was kind of a quick stoppage myself. I think Lewis would have gone on to win, but I didn't really like the stoppage myself. It was kind of weak in my opinion. I don't like when fights are stopped too early. It's a close call for the ref though because they don't want to see anything crazy. But you just hate to see a fight stop too early. But I guess it's better safer than sorry. Wilder versus White or Miller. Oh man, I would still. That's a good one, Charlene. I would still love to see Wilder and Jarrell Miller because they got that little feud going. They had a little beef going outside of boxing, and the trash talk on that would be crazy. Or even Big Baby Miller and Dillian White. Bon Scott says Fury all day long. Fury took Usyk uh, lightly, but seeing the success he did have on the fight, I see him getting Usyk out by KO. Yeah, I'm not mad at that. Something kind of for me is leaning toward Fury in a rematch too for some reason. If he can just um, keep his stamina for 12 rounds, that's the trick. Because it's like shout out to your boy in the bunker. I said this on one of my videos. He said Usyk has a way of making you work when you want to take a rest or take a round off. He makes you work, and then you find yourself tired by round 8. So if Fury doesn't fall into the trap of fighting Usyk's fight, I think he might have a good chance. His uppercuts were pretty vicious in that Usyk fight, and Usyk got hurt a couple times. I don't think it was a total one-sided fight as some people think. Quan says if AJ and Dubois can't beat Usyk, then Fury can. That's an interesting way to look at it. That's an interesting way to look at it. I noticed when Dubois quit against Usyk from that jab, I think he got hit on the same eye where he had the problems with Joe Joyce. So I'm thinking Ben Davison and Anthony Joshua may go into this fight targeting that eye. Counterpunch Boxing News is in the building. Y'all show some love to Kurt. Go subscribe to Counterpunch Boxing News if you haven't. He's holding it down, giving us breaking news and all that. I enjoyed the stream today too, man. Counterpunch Boxing News. We're talking about movies too, man. I think Dubois could beat Fury too. He could, yeah. He could definitely knock him down. I know that. Man, that's a tough one to pick. I got to see where Fury is after this Usyk fight. That'll kind of let me know if his mind is where it should be. We just got to keep Fury off the bottle and keep him disciplined. He's got to stay in the gym, or we don't want him to go haywire. I got Usyk as well, as Andy says. You got Usyk. I'm picking Usyk, but I kind of feel like Fury might do it for some reason. Bon Scott said, love to Kurt. Emmanuel Broderick's in the building, says, hey, Jay Roos, what's up to you, Emmanuel? Appreciate you. Michael Buffer. Fury going to lose to Usyk. Fury delayed the fight the best he could to buy time, and he still lost. Usyk can make adjustments like Mayweather did against Madonna. Oh, yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, Tyson was trying to avoid that fight with Usyk, man. He tried to make the price so low that Usyk wouldn't take it, and Usyk called his bluff, like, okay, I'll take it, and fight still didn't happen. So yeah, I did videos on Fury was definitely ducking Usyk. I had picked Fury to win that fight, and then I saw he didn't want no parts of Usyk. I had to change my prediction. Zandy says Kurt got some crazies in his comments. Yeah, sometimes we get trolls on here, man. You got to send them to the block party or back in the YouTube population. I'm picking Usyk in the rematch. Oh, I feel you. Got you. If Zhang had stamina, I'd want him to fight Dubois. I think Zhang would hurt Dubois, man, even at this stage. I think he would hurt Dubois. Dubois will outwork him, though. So that's kind of a tough one to pick now that I think about it. I got to think about that one, Charlene. Bon Scott said, isn't Madonna one with Richard Takpour, not Fury? What is that, Bon? Who's Richard? Richard, what is that last name? Quan says, did you see that Insecure De La Hoya got fake? Yeah, I saw. Yeah, what's going on with Oscar lately, man? Do we got to bring in an intervention from Oscar? Seem like he's acting kind of different lately there, Oscar. What's up, man? What's going on, Mr. De La Hoya? Is an intervention needed there, homie? Michael Buffer says, I knew Fury was going to lose the moment he didn't look at Usyk, just like Errol didn't look at. I said that too. When he didn't look at Usyk, I was like, oh, I'd never like to see a fighter do that. It just shows there's some type of, I don't say necessarily fear, but something is making that fighter not look at the other fighter. I would never do that. I'm not going to give my opponent an edge like, oh, I'm too scared to look at you. So what you going to do on fight night? Look into the crowd while you're getting punched? Oscar going through that midlife crisis. Come on, Oscar. Come on, man. We like to both the same age, man. Come on, man. Stop tripping. Emmanuel says Dubois versus Zhang is either Zhang early or Dubois late TKO or decision. I see it that way too. Yeah, Zhang has to do it early because, like Charlene was saying, he don't really have much stamina. I think Zhang is just too heavy. I don't know why he weighs like 280 and 290, man. He's, what, 6'6"? He doesn't have to weigh that much to have that power. I mean, I guess it's whatever he feels best at, but I think he'd feel better at a lower weight. Richard Riakpour used to be a gangbanger in Peckham. He has rap music with his gang from 10 years ago. Oh, see, I don't know nothing about that. I'm going to have to look into that, Quan. Yeah, I don't know anything about that. Y'all always give me something to look into. Appreciate that about you guys. You know your stuff. On AJ versus Dubois, just remember Dubois has never been knocked on his chin is sound. Yeah, but his knee has touched that canvas a whole lot. And if you can break a man mentally, you ain't even got to knock him on his hiney. You know what I mean? But we will see. Because AJ's got people. You say AJ can only knock you out with an accumulation. Lately, he's been pulling out the one hitter quitter on people. And we ain't never seen Francis Ngannou go out like that. And he's used to getting hit with small gloves. Michael Buffer says people are saying Dubois has a real big chance against AJ. Am I missing something? I think gonna KO Daniel like he did Francis. Same here, man. I say it's gonna be quick, and people are gonna look at this like, wow, this AJ is pretty tough to beat. He's just too wide open. His elbows are out like this, and he's squared up a lot. So I see it the same way. Zandy X says, have y'all noticed that Daniel Dubois talks a lot of when Joshua isn't around? I've been so shocked. He was silent as a mouse in the face-off. Yeah, until he said, you want to go now? You want to go now? Who do you think you are? Yeah, that's kind of Deontay Wilder-ish. When AJ was in his face, he was crickets. And then, the minute the press conference is over, he's back to dissing AJ. I'm like, that looks kind of weak, Mr. Wilder. When the dude was right in your face, you was on quiet mode. And I don't mean Instagram. Vaughn Scott says, I get that, Jay Roos, but this isn't a fight for the belt. This is a fight of the mentalities. AJ is just as suspect as Dubois. Not really. AJ ended his fight on his feet at his worst moment. That was his worst fight against Ruiz, the first one. Ended it on his feet. Didn't do a no mas. Dubois done that, what? How many times has Dubois? And plus, AJ still has the better resume, but of lately, Dubois had pretty good fights, Jarrell Miller, Hergovich, but AJ still has the better resume. Charlene says, does anyone think Dubois' chin might have been cracked? I don't know. It's a good question. Yeah, did those fights take anything out of Daniel? Emmanuel says, I think it's Zhang's weight that's the problem. He should be AJ's weight. Yeah, I don't know why Zhang is so heavy, man. Said he cleaned up his diet. So I don't know. Maybe he's just naturally that size, but it seems to fatigue him. Something's fatiguing him. I saw on a UK boxing channel, they showed Richard Riakporhe doing trap music with his gang in the projects. And I looked it up and found about 3 videos he did. Wow. So they got projects over there too, huh? Wow. Wow. Once upon a time in the projects, yo. Remember that song from Ice Cube, first album? I near had the record hoe. I knocked on the door. Who is it? It's Ice Cube come to pay a little visit to you. That's when Cube was hard. Bon Scott, but AJ's mentality, what did I say? It disappeared on my end. Where the comments go, it disappeared. It disappeared, y'all. Make sure y'all hit that thumbs up for a brother. It helps put me in the algorithm. You know what I'm saying? But man, that fight is what, on the 21st? That's right around the corner. Michael Buffer says, I've noticed Daniel's wins are coming from his opponent's lack of conditioning, especially Phillip. If his conditioning was good, he would have beaten Daniel. AJ's conditioning needs to be on point. That's funny you say that, Michael, because I just watched the interview that AJ did today. He said the same thing. He said it was Daniel's conditioning that won him the fight. He kept knocking down or going through walls, and one wall after the other. And Hergovich, he couldn't do that at some point. So that's a very good point. AJ's conditioning is going to have to be on point. He's going to have to make sure he doesn't throw unnecessary punches. And I see a lot of fighters waste punches, and that's just zapping your energy. They're throwing like little shots, just touching somebody, and that's okay, but you're also wasting energy. Emmanuel Broderick says that is so true. you're wasting a lot of energy if you don't know when to throw a punch, and punch placement is very important too, because that way you know you're not wasting your punch. Yeah, timing is everything, man. If you got speed and timing, yeah, I still believe AJ's the faster puncher too. Although I do think Dubois' speed is underrated. I saw him hitting the pads and he looked pretty fast, faster than I remember. But guys always look tough hitting the pads. You know, it's one thing in the gym and it's another under the lights. But you know, sparring is way different than sparring is just way different than the big night of the fight. You got people performing, you got pyrotechnics going off, you got Sweet Caroline blasting. Hopefully, not the creepy version, Mr. Turkey. We don't want the creepy version of a Sweet Caroline. That was weird, man. That was weird. Like a chick with a beard. Yeah, that promo, man. What they should have done is they should have made it more of a family friendly promo to bring in people from all ages. You know, I'm not with all the zombie weird stuff, man. I've never been into that. I know a lot of you are into that, but you shouldn't be. Bon Scott says AJ's gonna throw Dubois' belt out of the ring. So you think Dubois is gonna win and then AJ's gonna have a moment like he had in the Usyk 2 fight, huh? Who do you think you are? You don't intimidate me. You don't intimidate me. Emmanuel says, I'm excited for Bivol versus Baturbiev. Is that in October? Because we got the Wardley Clark rematch in October as well. I wish that Wardley Clark fight was actually on this card. That would have been a good co main event. Can you imagine that Wardley Clark too on the same card with Joshua Dubois? That would have been crazy. But then the price would probably been more than 19.99 for that. Quan says, check it out, Jay Roos. This is a link to Richard uh, Riekpour with his gang doing music. His rap name was Blacks. Oh, thanks for the link, man. Hey, when this video goes off, I notice I can't replay the chat. So when this video goes off, it'll be posted. Leave that link in the comment section so I can make sure to check it out. It's October 12th. Oh, okay. Wow. Okay. So that's right around the corner. Man. Yeah, that should be big. Big. Moses is coming for them all. They better make way. Oh, they better make hay while the sun shines. They won't be on top for much longer. So you're big on Moses, huh? I like his mindset. I tell you that. And he's taking the sport very seriously. He's not mucking about, isn't it? Matter of fact, they should have put him on this undercard. He's 19 like me, Emmanuel. That's what I'm talking about. 19, man. I remember being 19. Yeah, to have that kind of discipline at age 19 is something special, man. Not too many people can do it. Cool, Jay Roos. I'll leave it in the comments. Yeah, appreciate that, Quan. Appreciate that. Good looking out. I think Moses is the next king of the heavyweights. Forget Dubois, Usyk, AJ, and Wilder. I just want to see how he takes a punch. We know he can. We know he's got hands and speed. I just want to see how he reacts to a big shot from a big heavyweight. Usually, guys like him take a good punch because they're mentally strong. Taking a punch is more mental than physical. I've always believed that. You could be a physical specimen and fall like the Twin Towers if you don't have a strong mind. Michael Buffer says Richard was spending time with Madonna, the singer. That's why he lost. There's a picture of her sitting on Richard's lap. Wow. Yeah, I was saying on Kurt's live stream that Tupac was dating Madonna, and then she wanted to get freaky, and he's like, "Good night, I'm done." Us men ain't really, we're not into these freaky women, man. We're sick of seeing all these IG models half naked, man. It would turn us on more if you keep your clothes on. Try that. These women think, they work more on the outside than the inside. That's like decorating a box of food, then you open it and the food's rotten. It's more important what's in the box than the outside. That's a little one to grow on, ladies. And a woman isn't a lady. My mom always taught me that. A lady has class. A woman is just a woman. Moses was sparring. Oh, I missed that. The J. Rooster, I agree. The chin needs testing, but I think he will come through. Yeah, because if you can't take a punch, um, it's gonna be a rough road, man. Never knew Tupac messed with Madonna. Yeah, she was writing him letters when he was locked up, and I guess he was probably starstruck a little bit because he probably saw her videos when he was in high school and he thought, "Oh, Madonna likes me," but it was like, "Come on, Pac, Madonna, man, I wouldn't touch Madonna with someone else's hand." I remember Russell Simmons said Madonna tried to sign with his record label, and he was regretting to this day that he passed on it. Someone should ask Rick Poor what part of Madonna's bank account attracted him. The part with the zeros behind it. Ooh, Dubois versus Bacoli. Good one, Emmanuel. Ooh, tough one. I got Bacoli, man. I got Bacoli. That is a tough fight to pick, though. I wouldn't be mad if you said Dubois. Bacoli just appears to be the African version of George Foreman as far as Zhang is like George Foreman too, though. So I don't know, man. That's a good one. Bond says I got Bacoli too. Yeah, man. You were right, man. Bond, you told me that Bacoli was gonna go in there and handle business against Jared. You were 100% right on that. Knocked him through the ropes. Would you touch Madonna if someone gave you a meal? Absolutely not. No. No, no, no. Yeah. I mean, I'm a believer in Yeshua, but yeah, yeah. I like bigger women too. I don't like real skinny women. I don't like bony women as they say. I like women with meat on their bones. Kind of like AJ. He's into bigger women too, from what I hear. Emmanuel Broderick says, I think it's 50-50. 50-50. Yeah, I can see it that way too, actually. Tough fight though. I'd pay to see it. Not even for a Scooby snack, J. Ruse. Definitely not for a Scooby snack. Michael Buffer says every one knew Bacoli was gonna beat Anderson in the UK. I should have known when they had that little stare down and Bacoli kind of stared. He looked at Anderson till Anderson got uncomfortable and started dancing. I knew that was kind of a fear thing, and I should have changed my pick. But sometimes being a little fearful, or I should call it aware, can help you in the ring because it keeps you alert. But it didn't work for him that night, and he fought the wrong fight. You don't try to trade with a guy that as big as Bacoli is. You got to box that kind of fighter. You go toe to toe with Bacoli or Zhang, you're probably gonna wake up in the hospital. Bon Scott says Madonna so old when she faints, a puff of dust. When she I said faints. He said when she farts, a puff of dust comes out. Man, definitely don't want to be there for that visual. No, 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 no. Last time I saw Madonna, she didn't even look like Madonna. Like she had so much work done on her face. I was like, that's Madonna? I don't know why people like her and Little Kim do all this little plastic surgery and then it changes their appearance so much. You like, man, you have to almost Google what they look like before. Yes. Stop getting all this surgery, y'all. You can do facial exercises, keep your face young. You know how many muscles are in your face? Just there's all kind of facial exercises to do. You don't have to get these bad plastic surgeries that make you look a like a warped version of yourself, like a mannequin or something. It's not a good look. I know a lot of them regret it, but it's like once you get it done, it's kind of irreparable damage at that point. You know, I don't see how you can fix that. Charlene says Ruiz versus Zhang would be interesting. Yeah, that would be interesting. If Ruiz could take the power of Zhang, he definitely could outwork Zhang. I think Ruiz would definitely hit the canvas in that fight, though. Tough one to pick. Tough one to pick. Sorry, y'all. Hold on. There's a lot going on upstairs. Trying to hear what's going on. I don't know if y'all can hear all that, but Zhang versus Bam Rodriguez and Sonny Edwards. I don't even know who they are, man. Are those real people? Ruiz versus Chisora. Oh, I got Ruiz, man. Chisora got the nod against Joe Joyce, but I don't think he beats Ruiz. I think Ruiz might stop Chisora. Chisora's tough guy. He stays in the gym, but he gets a little hook happy, and he fights in spurts a lot. Oh, shout out to my dude Viking Samurai. His celebrity boxing match with Shane Mosley this month was someone else had to step in because he got injured. So hope you recover fast, man. Viking Samurai, cool guy, man. In fact, go subscribe to Viking Samurai if you haven't here on YouTube. He's got a great platform, where he brings on a lot of 80s and 90s action stars and martial artists. So go subscribe to Viking Samurai. Even had the guy that played Suge Knight from Straight Outta Compton, had him on a couple times. So that was pretty cool. Oh, y'all hear about this alleged fight might take place between Steven Seagal and George Foreman? Steven Seagal said he would lose, he just use his legs, and George could use his boxing. Man, Steven Seagal don't want no parts of George Foreman, man. Bam Rodriguez is a super flyweight champion. He fought Sonny Edwards last year. Oh, see, I don't even watch flyweights. To me, that's not even like boxing. That's like slapping there so little. Yeah, I don't mess with no flyweights. Gonna have to go see you next time. Oh, so you out of here, Emmanuel. Thanks for coming through, man. Appreciate you. Charlene says Chisora versus White 3. If it happens, who you got? I'm going to take Chisora just from Dillian's inactivity. I saw something today, I think, where Chisora wants to have another fight with White, or maybe White wants to have another fight with him. But I think Chisora keeps himself in better shape than White, and he's been more active, and he's kind of on a roll right now. Dillian hasn't fought since that weird matchup he had with Christian Hammer a while back. I don't know why he's not staying active. Some people think he's under suspension and he can only fight in foreign countries, but even if you can only fight in a different country, he's got to stay active. Are you watching the new Crow movie? I won't. I won't. Brandon Lee was iconic in that movie. Nah, I saw the first one. It's yeah, I don't like dark movies like that. That was very dark. Only Brandon Lee movie that I really remember was the one he was in with Dolph Lundgren, where they were two detectives or something like that. I remember it, but I forget the name of the movie. Hollywood keeps doing all these remakes of movies, so it's showing they're kind of out of ideas. There's certain movies you should just leave alone and not try to recreate because they're classics. Like you can't remake a New Jack City, you can't remake a Boys in the Hood, you can't remake a Star Wars. You might touch it up like George Lucas, but you can't remake it. I had heard of them actually thinking about that. Certain movies you got to just leave alone. Um, didn't they try to remake White Men Can't Jump? I didn't even see it. You can't. There's certain movies you just can't touch because if people have fond memories of it, the only thing you're going to do is probably make it worse. If something's a A in someone's mind, there's not much room to go up. So leave the classics alone. Oh, and shout out to all the people that have donated so far through the crack. I said the crack through the. Shout out to all the people that have donated through the Cash App so far. Appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. And for those that haven't, feel free to. The Cash App is $JROOS 33 $J Roos 33. Bon Scott says if you like fight movies, Warrior, Tom H. Gardy was great in that. Did I see that? I'm trying to think. No, I don't think I saw that. I'm gonna have to check that out. Quan says Ruiz versus Chisora is an interesting fight. Yeah, it is an interesting fight. Very interesting. Chisora got in Joe Joyce's head on the face off, and you think someone on Joyce's level that's fought some of the top guys, you think he'd be above letting somebody get in his head like that. So I don't know, man. I think I got Ruiz against Chisora. I think Chisora would have some good rounds, but I think Ruiz outworks him. Plus, Ruiz throws a lot of combos. Chisora does a lot of winging hooks and winging shots. It's a kickboxing kind of movie about two brothers. Tom Hardy is the actor. Okay, I'm gonna have to check that out. I'm gonna have to check that out. Y'all see Beverly Hills Cop 4? I was watching Tyrone Magnus. Shout out to him. He didn't think much of it. I never really liked any of the Beverly Hills Cop movies. Big Mama's House? Nah, I'm tired of seeing black men dress up like women. Yeah, I know what that's about. If I see another Negro put on a dress, I might reach through the TV and pull him through it. Quan Big Gun says, I feel like Dubois lost his innocence in Brazil. He's talking more open in the interview. You know what, Quan? That's interesting that you said that. I never thought about that. Maybe that little trip to Brazil got him tripping now, you know? I guess I'm hoping he didn't go over there and splurge, but he came back like a different dude. I never thought of that, Quan. You might have just given me an idea for a new video. Because I always said people think Daniel's dumb, and I'm like, he's not dumb at all. He's just very innocent, like, kind of childlike, but not dumb. Not dumb at all. Bon Scott says apparently it's yeah, exactly. An Illuma, you know what thing. Exactly. Yeah. I remember Lennox Lewis wanted Frank Bruno. Yeah, I was just talking about that, Bon. They did it to Frank Bruno too, got him in a dress. Lennox Lewis pointed that out, and Frank didn't like that. Lewis was like, "You're not gonna catch me in a dress." Nah, man. Ain't enough money in the world, because when that money's spent, that footage is still there. Someone can just pull it up, post it, and you become a meme, and you're getting laughed at. So that's not worth no money. Terry Harrell in the building. Shout out to you, man. Thanks for coming through. He said Ruiz is an inside fighter. Chisora will be bloody. Interesting. Yeah, I think Ruiz might be a much for Chisora. He might really get him to retire if they fight. Is Frank Bruno still alive? Oh yeah, Frank Bruno's not only alive, he's in great shape, man. He's in great shape. He used to work a lot with Daniel Dubois. I saw a couple videos with them together in the gym a couple years back. Kevin Hart as well. Yeah, yeah, all them dudes, man, they need to just chill with the putting on the dresses, man. All money ain't good money, as they say in the hood, man. There's always an opportunity in life to make a lot of money doing something you shouldn't do. I've had to pass up some things that would have, been okay, but I was like, nah, it ain't right with my spirit, so I didn't do it. Because you got to be able to look at yourself in the mirror, and it ain't worth it. If you got to do something to sacrifice your morals and integrity, there's no dollar amount that you can put on that. And unfortunately, a lot of my people come from harsh situations growing up in the streets, and so first time somebody flashes them a couple 100,000, they take it. They don't stop and think about the long-term effect. I know you don't like circular theories, but do you think Dubois beats Ruiz Jr., giving that he beat Big Baby? Yeah, I think Dubois can beat Ruiz at this point. I think Dubois is showing more consistency and he stays in shape. So I think he would. I think it might be a tough fight for a while, but I think Dubois might even stop Ruiz. Pay to see it though. I paid $19.99 to see it, DAZN. No more. I never realized Don Charles was Chisora's trainer when he fought Klitschko. I also found out today watching an Anthony Joshua interview when Joshua was getting in trouble as a teen, that Don Charles was one of the people, I guess, at a center to help troubled teens. So I think that's where he met Don Charles. I never knew that. I guess Don's a classy act for not mentioning that or letting AJ mention it before he talked about it. And Don Charles had a brawl with David Hay in Germany. Did he now? In the ring or outside the ring? I did not know that. Prince's party like it's 1999. I know maybe DAZN can use that as their new theme song. I bet they use that for advertising. Yeah, I always wonder who the royalties go to when someone uses music of a deceased artist. Does the family get it, or does someone else get it? Inquiring minds would like to know. Don Charles is a big dude. His son used to box too. I noticed Don Charles got some size on him. And he was talking about how hard it is to hold the pads for Dubois because he hit so hard. Yeah, Don Charles got some size on him. He looks like a dude you don't want to run up on in the alley. And I think he's about to turn 63 too. Looks like he's in great shape. Looks like he takes good care of himself. Shout out to Don Charles, y'all. I'm gonna have to see after this fight if I can get Ben Davison on the show. I'd like to interview him. I like his. He seems to be a strategist and a deep thinker. I like talking to people like that. I don't like people that believe whatever's told to them. I don't like talking to people like that because you can't get through to them. I like talking to thinkers. Someone that's like, oh yeah, I never thought of that. Let me look into it. You got to look into everything. Don't just believe somebody because you respect them. Look into what they say. Quan says, Hay and Charles had a fight at a post-fight press conference. They were here swinging punches. Chisora got glazed, and Hay's trainer Adam Booth got his forehead split. Apparently, Hay broke Don's jaw. Wow. Yeah, I know David Hay can punch, man. I'm gonna have to see. I have to leave that link in the comment section too, or I'll try to pull it up. Wow. I wonder who David Hay is picking for the Dubois Joshua fight. Might have to pick opposite of him. I think he got the last pick right, but we'll see if he gets this one right. Bon Scott says the thing about Dubois that confuses me is that all the guys that have sparred him say he is a heavy hitter, but he doesn't really get the top pros out of there. Yeah, I think he's like what Lewis said about Vitaly Klitschko. He said he's heavy-handed, meaning like you notice his punches, like you feel them, but it's not that snap that can get you out of there like a Mike Tyson or a George Foreman, but you notice them, you feel them. They say Daniel has one of the best jabs in boxing, though. I've heard that from a lot of people. But you don't really see Daniel get guys out with one shot too often. But, maybe he can, if he can do that with AJ, then he'll do something that no one else has done. Quan says it was a brawl. Wow. Bond says AJ has the power to knock people unconscious, man, Unconscious mind. Leave you delusional every time. Sane and second. What is that? It's like water pouring. There's all kind of noises going on, Y'all ever had a song stuck in your head that you don't even listen to? What's that about? I can see if you played the song if it gets stuck in your head, but to have a song stuck in your head that you don't even play? Interesting. It's called an earworm. An earworm. I have to look into that, Bond. Quan says it's true. AJ and Wilder put people to sleep. Dubois might have more power, but he doesn't have the speed plus power equals good night. Yeah, I think Daniel's just like a big, strong kid, man. He's like, if he were in the States, he'd probably be a linebacker with one of the NFL teams. He's just a big, strong guy. But I think maybe if he learns to throw his punches maybe a little differently, he can start getting those one-hit knockouts because he has the power. Maybe it's all technique. Haile Selassie, you know what's interesting about him? He was a Christian. So when Jamaicans started making him someone they shouldn't have made him, he told them, "Hey, no, I'm not who you say I am." But he was an actual Christian, and the Jamaicans said because he was in the bloodline of David, they tried to elevate him to what he shouldn't have been. There's only one King of Kings, and that's Yeshua, not Haile Selassie. I yeah, I've listened to reggae my whole life, but I used to edit those parts where they start trying to make him something that he's not. I'm like, let's keep that out of it. I don't know how you could read the scriptures and then put your own interpretation over it. The scripture isn't open for our private interpretation. That's Monday Night Football tonight, huh? My Chargers beat the Raiders. Jim Harbaugh never lost an opening game. He was 4-0. Now he's 5-0. Who has it better than us? Chargers. Buju Banton is good, but a little coarse. Yeah, I saw him on the Apollo, and he was saying some crazy stuff about Christianity. So I had to dun him. Bakwe with the mix-up, Buju Banton. Yeah. I hope these folks get it right before they leave this world, because they're going to be in for a rude awakening when they stand before the Most High, Yahweh, Yahweh, and they have to explain themselves. You can't bluff your way on Judgment Day. He already knows what you're thinking. Has Hergovich retired? That's a great question, Quan. I was wondering that myself. He said he was going to retire if he didn't beat Daniel Dubois, and I haven't heard anything. So I'm wondering, is he going to do it? Deontay said he was going to retire if he didn't beat Zhang, but he changed his mind because a true warrior doesn't want to go out on a loss, because that's forever going to be in the public's mind and your mind, family and friends as well. So I think as a warrior, you got to come back and fight somebody and get a win, even if it's some dude off the street. Get that win and then call it a day. But I don't think Hergovich is retired. He might be, but I think he'll. I think he just had to, mentally heal from what just happened, and I think he'll be back. There's a lot of guys he could still beat. Yeah, Bond says Hergovich is still hurting after his whooping he took. Yeah, because he did a lot of trash talk to Dubois. I didn't know Hergovich was such a funny guy, man. That dude can do some trash talking. Can you imagine him and Big Baby Miller at a press conference? Maybe those two should fight since they're both coming off. Well, Miller got a draw and Hergovich lost, but man, that trash talk would be pay per view worthy alone. Hergovich got humbled. I don't think he can beat the top guys. I think he lost to Zhang. Yeah, he did lose to Zhang. I don't know how he got that. They just went with the guy they thought was more marketable, in my opinion. But Zhang won that fight, and I'm sure Hergovich don't even want to run that back. Did Marley follow Selassie? Yeah, he started off as a Christian, and then I heard, before he left this world, he repented of his sins and went back. So a lot of people don't know that. So hopefully that story's true. I heard the same with Easy E. I heard on his last moments he gave his life to Yeshua. So I'm hoping those stories are 100% true. Y'all ever notice that Easy E, Tupac, and Biggie were all consecutive years? 94, it was 95, 96, 97. Three of the biggest names in hip hop, consecutive years. Very interesting. Assassinated, bro. You talking about Tupac, Easy, or Biggie or all three. I've talked to Gene Deal, Puffy's bodyguard. I've talked to him, and some interesting things have taken place. I just say that. Ali and Marley, yeah, I believe Ali was definitely the that the powers that be thought there would be a rise of a black messiah. So, and they called Cassius Clay at the time the Louisville Lip because he talked so much and he had a huge following. So I think that he may have been injected with something when he went to go get a physical. Because how many fighters have you seen that had that much of a problem once they retired to where they had Parkinson's, they could hardly talk? I mean, there's a couple, but not to the extent of his condition. I think I've always thought something was up with that. One of my old trainers thought so too. Bob Marley put on a boot, I think, when he went to the White House and said something poked him in his toe like a needle. And I believe there was a doctor that came out and said he did inject Marley with something, melanoma cancer, which they say black people can't get, but they said I guess maybe Bob Marley got it through his mom, who was Caucasian. But it was a lot of funny business going on in Jamaica at the time, like uprisings and political things. I remember Bob Marley's house got ambushed. I still got to see that movie, the Bob Marley movie. All the Marleys sound like their dad too, man. That's a trip. They all have his voice. I think Biggie got assassinated in the streets. I I think he got caught up in it and he just did some crazy things. If you have a feud with Tupac, who was huge on the West Coast, why would you go to LA, man? I think even his mom warned him not to come to LA. And then he's making songs like Who Shot Ya? That people say it wasn't about Tupac, but why would you release it? Bon Scott says 100% J. Ruse. Appreciate you, Bon. Ziggy probably sounds the closest, man. Yeah, they all have a piece of their dad's voice. It's incredible. Got to pray they become believers, man. Leave that false religion alone. Quan Big Gun says yes. Bob Marley got assassinated by the government. The secret agent came out and told the story. Yeah, see, people always believe the CNNs and whatever they say on TV must be true. If they're wearing a suit and tie, no, man, you got to look into stuff. So it's sad. For Bon Scott, man, 100% don't follow idols. Yeah, and all idols are false, man. All of them are false. There's no real idol. They're all false. Do not worship a man, a woman. Only person I worship is Yah, Yeshua, Yahweh, Yahweh, and that's it. I don't worship no angels, nothing like that. Don't worship money. And people always get that scripture wrong about money is the root of all evil. That's not what the scriptures say. It says the love of money is the root of all evil. If money was evil, we wouldn't be told to work. So study the scriptures. I've read the scriptures front to back. I have the Hebrew scriptures and with the real names in them, by the way. So yeah. But I guess I'm gonna get off here now, y'all. I've been on here for a while, running my mouth, and I appreciate y'all coming through. Quan, Big Guns, Bond, Scott, Kurt from Counterpunch Boxing News, Emmanuel Broderick's, everybody, man. Quan, Big Guns. It's easier to pass a camel through the eye of a needle than a rich man to enter the kingdom of the Shamayim, heaven. Yeah, man. The reign of the Shamayim. That's Hebrew for heavens, plural. But yeah, did you know that scripture too doesn't mean like a literal needle? There's a thing in Israel or something where you had to humble yourself and lower, take off your stuff you travel with. You'd have to take it off to get through this needle or something like that. I used to think it meant like a literal threading needle, because that'd be impossible for anybody to do. But yeah, Quan says it's crazy how people still have Elvis as an idol. That was 200 years ago. Yeah, man. I actually know my friend's son, who's only 15, is a big Elvis fan. Showed me all his record collection like a couple weeks ago. I was like, how'd you get into Elvis, man? But yeah, people shouldn't make idols out of people just because you like their songs or the way they rap or the way they act. Don't make more of them out of them than what they are. Quan says, all right, peace, Jay. Roos, good chat as always. They appreciate you too, Quan. Thanks for coming in and holding the wrench. You too, Bon Scott. Says, I didn't know that. Thanks. No problem, Bon Scott. But yeah, I guess I'm gonna get up on up out of here. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. It's called uh what does that say? It's called Bread and Circuses, Jay Roos. Thank you, man. Thank you, Bon Scott. Your initials are BS, but you ain't talking no BS. But thanks for watching, y'all. Uh, Make sure to comment, share, subscribe, hit that thumbs up. If you wish to donate once again to the platform, it's $ J Roos 33, LSR forever, and be fearless. Yay.